Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Let's talk about event loop. So before going into the topic, I would like to take an example and a disclaimer. If you find the theory boring, please skip to the example section. So let's say we went into a restaurant and there is only one chef in the restaurant and he has a long list of items to cook. But he cooks one dish after the other. So he will not be cooking multiple dishes at once. So he'll first cook this dish. Once this is done, he'll then go to the next one. Once that is done, he'll then go to the next one. So he will be cooking one dish after the other. Let's say a group of people came and they have ordered a huge list of items. What is the chef going to do? Is he going to stop whatever he is cooking and will he jump to this? No, right? He will be continuing on this. Now, what about these list of items? He will just add them to the waiting list. And then he will be trying to complete whatever he was already doing. So once these are done, what he will do next? He will do if there is any small work like adding some toppings or doing some decorations or any small things, he'll next do those. Once this is done, and he will next go to the waiting list. So this is how our JavaScript works. Just like Chef, JavaScript also executes code line by line. It is a single threaded language. So every line of our code, so here we see a stack of things, right? So every line of our code will be in a call stack. And it gets executed, so one after the other. So let's say we have two console logs, console.log A and console.log B. So it goes to the call stack, it gets executed, and then this goes to the call stack and this gets executed, just like how our chef cooked one after the other. So once everything in the call stack is executed, then we spoke about adding these toppings and all, no? So once everything in the call stack gets empty, then microtasks get executed. So these microtasks include promises or queue microtask, etc. So after these microtasks, then this waiting list or macrotasks get executed. So first our call stack, then our microtasks, then our macrotasks. What are in macrotasks? Things like set timeout, set time interval, etc. comes under macrotasks. So now who is going to manage all of this? That what is in microtask, when is the stack empty, or is macrotask, is there anything in the macrotask to be executed? So who is going to manage all of this? Event loop. So event loop manages the execution. It keeps checking if there is anything in the micro queue or macro queue. Okay, so this is on the high level. So now let's see more examples to understand it even better. Let's see example 1. So we have console.log start, then we have a set timeout, then we have promise.resolve, and then we have console log. So any guesses what would be the order of the execution? Yes, by now you must have guessed. So let's see. So we see that first console log goes into the stack, it gets executed. Next we see set timeout. What will happen to the set timeout? It goes into the macro task. Okay, it will be added to macro task queue. Then we have promise.resolve. What will happen to the promise.resolve? It will go to the microtask queue. And then we have console log. It directly executes. So first start gets executed, this goes to the macrotask queue, this goes to the microtask queue, and this will be in the call stack and it gets executed. So now since this has gone to macrotask queue and this has gone to microtask queue, micro is higher priority, right? So as we spoke that our toppings will be next after cooking, so micro is higher priority. So our micro promise got executed, and then whatever is in macro, which is the timeout, has got executed. So hope this is clear. Now let's move to example 2. Let's discuss example 2. So now we have a console log A here, and then a set timeout, then a promise, then a queue microtask, and then a console log. So we can say queue microtask is also a built-in JavaScript function. Basically, it is also a callback that will run after our call stack becomes empty. So this will also be added to our microtask queue. So what will be the order of execution? Okay, so first our console log A gets printed, right? Then set timeout gets added to macrotask queue. Then promise.resolve will be added to microtask queue, and queue microtask is also a microtask, so it will be added to microtask queue, and then again console log will be printed. So first A and E gets printed. Then we go to microtask queue. So in microtask queue, first C is added and then D is added, right? First this part of the code will be added, then this. So queue is first in first out. So whatever is executed first will be printed. So C gets printed followed by D, and then macro task will be executed. So A, E, C, D, B will be our output. So let's just check. Yes, A, E, C, D, and then finally macro task will be printed. Now let's go to example 3. By now we will be able to tell what is the order of the execution, right? Now we have a set timeout and then another set timeout and then console log. So what will be our order of execution? Obviously both of these will be added to macrotask queue. Console log will be added to call stack and then gets executed immediately. So now we have A and B in macrotask queue. So when both A and B are in macrotask queue, since queue is first in first out, first whatever is added will be executed. So A gets printed first and then B. So the order of execution is C followed by A and then B. So let's check. Yes, C, A, B. Discuss example 4. We have a promise. So this will be added to microtask queue, and then we have another promise. This will be added to microtask queue, and then we have console.log C. This gets executed immediately, and then we have A and B in microtask queue. Since queue is first in first out, so A gets executed first and then B. So let's just check. C, A, B. Let's see example 5. We have a set timeout and then a promise. So although set timeout has a console and the promise, we need not check if it first gets executed and then if promise gets executed, all of those. So first we have set timeout. So this set timeout is going to be added to macrotask queue, and then we have a promise. This is added to microtask queue. So out of both of these, microtask queue is higher priority. So this gets executed first, and then we go to macrotask queue. So in which, in the set timeout, we have a timeout start. Since it is a console log, it will be added to the call stack and it immediately gets executed. And then we have a promise. So this will be executed after it. Okay, so we have promise before timeout first, and then timeout start, and then promise inside timeout. So let's just check. Yes, promise before timeout, because this is added to microtask queue, which is of higher priority. And then we go to the macrotask queue, in which there is set timeout. Within that, first console log gets executed and then promise. Let's solve example 6. We have a console log, then a queue microtask, then a promise, then a queue microtask, and then a console log. So what will be our order of execution? So first start gets executed and then end gets executed, because they will be added to the call stack and then they get executed immediately. So let's go by the order. First console log start, it gets added to the call stack and it gets executed immediately. And then queue microtask will be added to microtask queue, and then promise.resolve will be added to microtask queue, and then queue microtask will be added to microtask queue, and then console log, it will be added to the call stack and will be executed immediately. So now after the start and end are executed, now if we check the microtask queue, we have these three, right? So now since queue is first in first out, so microtask 1 is added first, so that gets executed first, and then promise 1, and then microtask 2. So let's just check. So start, end, microtask 1, promise 1, and microtask 2. So let's do one thing. Let's just move this towards here. Now what will be the order of execution? Yes. So first console.log start gets added to the call stack and it gets executed immediately. Then these three will be added to microtask queue, and then console log end will get printed immediately because it will be added to call stack and gets executed immediately. Now these three, since queue is first in first out, so first this is added, so microtask 1 will be executed first, then microtask 2 will be executed next, and then promise 1 will be executed after that. So our order will be start, end, microtask 1, microtask 2, and then promise 1. So let's just check. Yes. Example 7. So here we have a console log, set timeout, promise, which has a console set timeout and a promise, and then a console log. So now what will be the order of execution? So first console log will be added to the call stack and gets executed immediately. So that we are sure, one gets printed. Now what will happen to the set timeout? Set timeout will be added to macrotask queue. So now what we have in macrotask queue? We have this set timeout. So I'll just add this. Next, this promise will be added to microtask queue. So what we have in microtask queue? We have the promise, right? So this is added to macrotask queue, this is added to microtask queue, and next we have console log 6. So this gets added to the call stack and gets printed immediately. So 1 and 6 gets printed. After this we will go to the microtask queue. So in this microtask queue we have this promise. So this promise gets executed. So I am just removing this. Okay. And in this promise, first line is console log. So that gets added to the call stack and gets printed immediately. So we have 1, 6 and then 3 getting printed. After this we have another set timeout. So what will happen to this set timeout? This will be added to macro queue again. Okay, and then we have promise.resolve. What will happen to this? This will be added to microtask queue. So hope it's clear till here. Now what happens? Again event loop checks and then microtask queue will be given higher priority. Now in microtask queue, what do we have? We have this, right? So now 5 gets printed. After this, now we go to macrotask queue. So in the macrotask queue, since queue is first in first out, so first set timeout of console log 2 is added. So this gets executed first and then this gets executed. So let's just check. Yes, 1, 6 and then 3 and then 5 and then 2 and 4. Hopefully this is clear. Thank you. If you please subscribe, like and share. That would help me a lot. Thank you.